not equal. And the Kansas City Chiefs open the season at home against Baltimore tonight, and there's this sense that it's been a very noisy offseason for Kansas City, and I would argue again, not all distractions are equal. Take Kansas City and the Jets. The Jets' issues could be disruptive. They need a pass rusher, and he's held out. They thought they had him, and then they didn't, and then he held out, and he's still not starting. And they have an offensive coordinator that they strongly considered hiring another coach to call plays for him. The quarterback took a shot at the coach. Coach took a shot at the quarterback, rebuilding the O-line. Those are disruptions that could affect a locker room or an outcome. Kansas City's issues, to me, aren't disruptive. Rashee Rice in the offseason, a young kid did something stupid. It's called your 20s. The players had his back, and so did the team. Harrison Butker, politics. Most of the players agree with him. It's politics. Nobody cares in that locker room. What about Travis Kelce? Well, it could be, Travis Kelce, the Swifties. What are we going to... Nobody cares. It's just Hollywood and fun and music. Nobody cares. The Jets have real disruptions. The Chiefs, there's a difference between on your couch scrolling on your phone and in your car in traffic scrolling on your phone. One has consequences. One's just wasting time and screwing off. So Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce means nothing. Harrison Butker means nothing. Rashee Rice doesn't mean nothing, but young players in the league make mistakes, even big ones. You'll find overwhelmingly that Kansas City, from the first moment on, had his back, scold him, have his back. Those are not outcome changers. Those are not locker room dividers. The media thinks Harrison Butker's a locker room divider. I'm here to tell you, zero. Zero influence. So, and Kansas City is also built for this. Owner, A+. GM, president, quarterback, coach, experienced, A++. They're built to overcome any little fissure in the chemistry, any little speed bump driving to the stadium. They have stars at GM, coach, quarterback. The Jets owners are the disruptors, are the chaos creators. Big difference. They don't have proven leadership. Aaron makes a situation that's noisy noisier. He responds to everything. He's got rabbit ears. Saleh responds to everything. Woody Johnson and Saleh apparently had some shouting match last year. That's not what Kansas City's going through. So Kansas City is the model of leadership in this league, top down, and that means you're built to handle a Rashee Rice, a Harrison Butker, Travis Kelce. I mean, Andy Reid's appearing in commercials. Everybody's all in. New England had some stuff in the offseason, but they had such great leadership with Kraft, early days Pioli and Belichick and Brady. And none of that stuff got in the way of winning. That's the great advantage. Baltimore's had issues. It never gets in the way of winning. Little tiny fissures with the Jets implode because they don't know how to handle it. They don't have leadership in the locker room. They don't have it at quarterback, coach, owner over the last 25 years. So not all distractions are equal. I'm reading Diana Rossini has a column today talking about the offseason for the Chiefs, and there's been a lot of turbulence and movement, but it's the world's it's America's most popular sport. And Andy Reid's the best coach, and Mahomes is the biggest star, and Travis Kelce's hanging out with Taylor Swift. It's going to be turbulence. This is not going to be a cross-country flight without an air pocket. You're going to bounce around a little. You're going to spell coffee. But Kansas City's built to withstand anything, just like New England was for 20 years. And you can go back to Deflategate and Spygate and all sorts of stuff. Never got in the way of wins. I watched a documentary on New England. They won a Super Bowl, and the players said it was the hardest season we ever had. It wasn't any fun. They hoisted a trophy. Remember last year at the end of the year for Kansas City, players said, this was the hard one. This was exhausting. I mean, you got Travis Kelce and Andy Reid in the Super Bowl, banging heads, banging headsets, and they hoisted a trophy. Greatness is not just playing, catching footballs, throwing football. It's leadership. And the teams like the Baltimores and San Francisco, Kansas City, they're built for the bumps. J-Mac with the news.
No. Turn on the news. This is the Herdline News.
We haven't dug much into Rams-Lions Sunday Night
Stay
Football.
away. Stay
it's
away.
a really, really good game. This is Matthew Stafford returning to Detroit, where he was a folk hero for many years. Last season, of course, he took the Rams into Detroit. They lost a tight wild card matchup. Very good game. Fans let Stafford hear about it. Here's what he had to say about facing that hostile Detroit crowd again.
I feel the crowd 100%. Motivating factor, love it. I want to hear all of it. I want to smell it. I want to feel like it's football, and that's part of football, especially going to an away game. So that stuff, just motivates me.
You and I have said this before. I can really like a team, but not love them in week one. I really like the Rams. They're not going 17-0. I would take Detroit in this game. I mean, I really, really like Bo Nix in Denver to overachieve this year. I don't like him at Seattle in week one against a young, smart defensive coordinator. You and I both love Houston. You think they're going to lose in week one to the Colts. So, I can think two things at one time. I love the Rams. I love the schedule. But they've had some preseason offensive line issues, so it's a little makeshift on the offensive line, center to guard, tackles moving around, Havenstein not healthy. So in week one, I think the Rams, this is a tough spot for them. It's also a standalone game. Detroit's got a Super Bowl feel. Detroit's got a better O-line right now. Hutchinson had a great camp. He could be the best pass rusher with Max Crosby on the edge in the league. So I think this is Detroit's game in the opener. I think they are appropriately favored by over a field goal.
Okay, I've been waiting for the right time to spring this on you. So last year, I know I was down on the Rams and you were high and they ended up high. Do you remember how they started last season?
Yes.
3-6, Colin.
Yeah.
And then you look at that November 19th game against Seattle. They were 3-6, hurtling toward disaster.
Yeah.
Jason's going to be right. And they come back to beat Seattle. On the stretch, here's who they beat. Arizona, which had massive quarterback issues. They were terrible. The Browns, again, quarterback issues. Watson, backups, blah, blah, blah. Lost that game to the Ravens. Beat the Commanders, who stunk. Yeah. Beat the Saints, who were awful. Beat the Giants, who were a tire fire.
No, that's who was in
and then
front
beat
of
the
them.
Niners in Week 18, where, they didn't play anybody.
Okay.
So let's just chill out with the Rams exceeded expectations last year.
Do you remember when the Ravens last year were blowing out the Niners and blowing out the Dolphins and blowing out the Lions? And L.A. flew cross-country and outplayed them and had them beat.
Damn. That was a tough loss.
That was one of those games. I'm not just impressed when you win. There are times I watch a team that loses and think, oh, that's a moment. And by the way, that Rams-Baltimore game, all you said was true. Baltimore was rolling people. They humiliated Detroit. Yeah. Nobody's humiliated Detroit in 2 years. It was a woodshed game. It was like, white flag, it's over. And the Rams outplayed them. Went to overtime. So it's like that to me was and they beat San Francisco. San Francisco playing backups. I mean, they have 9 Pro Bowlers. Then they win a playoff game. Then they're a play from the NFC Championship. And they had, by the way, they were the youngest team outside of Green Bay in the league, and they had a great draft. Watch out. I just think this game is built for Detroit.
Yeah. At home, I'm kind of with you. I like the Lions a little bit. Let's go to the next story, and that's the Niners. Brandon Ayuk, done deal. Trent Williams in the building. Everybody's excited. Next in line, though, Colin, Brock Purdy. The third-year quarterback will be eligible for an extension at the end of the season, and Trent Williams wants to be a key factor in getting him a raise.
I want all my teammates to get paid. I want them to get every red cent that they deserve, every red cent that they can. So Brock is obviously outplayed Mr. Irrelevant contract. So, I would be thrilled, absolutely thrilled to not only see but to watch his life change, after something like that, because he deserves it. Super, super proud of him, man. I love the kid to death. He deserves every dollar coming his way. And, yeah, I want to be a part to help him get to what exactly he deserves.
So he's got 111 passer ratings so far in his career. He makes good decisions, moves well enough, not a huge arm, good enough. He's a lot of good enough with a great coach, a great supporting cast. And I will say this, He makes the right throw, and that's what Shanahan loves with him. That's what Sam Darnold admitted being his backup. This guy upstairs, he's moving fast. He makes the right throw. He rarely lets go of the ball and you go, uh-oh. And that's a big part of Kyle Shanahan. That's why Kyle Shanahan liked Kirk Cousins. Kirk makes the right throw. Kirk doesn't move that great. Kirk doesn't have a big arm. Kirk throws it to where he's supposed to throw it. And for the record, even Garoppolo mostly knew what he was and wasn't. Garoppolo didn't throw up the sideline. He knew he didn't have the arm strength. Garoppolo was great between the hash marks. That's what Kyle wanted. So Kyle and Brock, so much of life is fit. It's really a good fit. You don't have a guy running out of plays. He doesn't have a prickly attitude, rolling his eyes. The play comes in, Brock runs it, and throws to the right spot with just enough mobility to occasionally, and this is a big deal, they couldn't do this with Garoppolo, just enough mobility to move the pocket. Just enough.
It's weird because I think of the